Desmond Mason is in for the hour. We're going to learn ourselves, Todd, what he thinks. I think I'm springing this on him, without his knowledge. This happened yesterday, Des, okay? The Thunder are playing well, and we always talk about the Thunder, and I'm sure you will tonight on the pregame, all that stuff. And we'll get into a little bit of Thunder. But the Kings are kind of interesting right now. Their coach got fired. Malone, the Malone character, Mike Malone. Weird in terms of timing and things of that nature because they were moving right along until DeMarcus Cousins went out with his viral meningitis. Well, Adrian Wojnarowski reported yesterday, about all these details about this, but also had another point in his story. According to Wojnarowski, the Kings' new interim coach, Ty Corbin, is ready to bust out some sort of version of a defensive scheme that the new Kings owner, Vivek Ranadive, was pitching before the season. Are you familiar with this scheme?
No, I'm not familiar. It's a scheme, so that says everything. I want to hear this.
You gotta love, too, when the owner says, hey, I got an idea for you defensively.
Well, it's basically 4-on-5. Cherry picker. Guy releases early. Guy releases on. I'm assuming on the shot. Just guy releases and try to do the fast break that, or maybe releases before the shot.
Yeah.
And tries to do that. Now I just tell you that's a very simple version. And Todd, if you can find a more detailed version of what this owner is talking about, feel free to read it out loud. But given the information I just gave you. Smart at all? I mean, interesting at all?
Yeah, I don't see an advantage. If they're releasing on the shot, then most teams have two set defenders back on the shot.
They release two.
That's really not a pick. I mean, that's not cherry picking. So I'm really trying to figure out exactly what it is. I mean,
what if it were like some sort of zone concept?
Yeah, I mean, you can put them in the box, but you still got to guard people. Like if I'm a coach and they go into basically like a box and they send a guy out to the other end of the floor, then I'm just going to flash a big guy that can shoot the ball right into the middle and run a guy behind him for a lob every single time. You can't guard it.
It's not going to work, Todd.
It's not going to work.
I'm interested. I want to, I guess I would figure it to be, and you tell me if this is a bad analogy, but I figure that this coaching philosophy, it's going to either be somewhat of a success somehow, or either way, you have to watch it.
Yeah,
right.
I mean, that's absolutely. I mean, look at it, but it'll be layup after dunk after layup after dunk. You had 5 in the NBA, maybe high school, not in the NBA.
For the guy from in the game, did you? In October, the Kings hired Grinnell to coach at their D-League affiliate.
Yeah, because they were trying to employ the 4-on-5 in their D-League team.
Exactly. I mean, it looks like they're going all in with this deal. I mean,
it's the NBA. I mean, coaches are too smart. If they put 4 guy NBA players, I will see how they play. I see a bunch of them.
It was 207. If they did employ some sort of tonight, right? I mean, we're getting up to 230, 240, right?
Absolutely.
I want to take the over. I think I'm ready.
I think you're ready.
I'm ready. I think I've got it all figured out for tonight.
It'd be great. Like if I was playing against Sacramento, then I would maybe you just stall them.
I could see this. What if possession gets to the last, 6-7 seconds of the shot clock, and then you send the guy back?
Ooh. Well, I mean, it's
because it leaves you less time to break down the 5-on-4 advantage.
Well, in the NBA, everything is a pick and roll. So, the only way you keep them out of that is you just set up in a pick and roll and stand there and dribble the ball at the top of the key. If they're going to play that way, then I'll just run it down just like it's a last second shot. I'll run it down to 8 seconds and go into pick and roll. They can't send him running in. He just got to stay with his man. If not, I'll just send his man cut into the basket.
See, the thing is, though, if Tyrone Corbin is told, hey, just try this, the results be damned, you're going to keep your job. We're going to see some crazy numbers.
Oh, you'll see that, but I'll tell you what you'll see. You see him not coaching anywhere else in the NBA. I mean, you can't take that. You can't take that and run with it. It's not. There's nothing about that. You can slice it up any way you want to. 4-on-5 in the NBA is not happening.
Well, that was my other question that I posed to Todd in the first segment when we were talking about this. Now, one of the names that's getting thrown out there is a guy you're familiar with, George Karl.
Yeah.
as a coach for the Kings. They're also throwing out the name, Adrian Wojnarowski threw out the name today of Chris Mullen. But if you know this is part of what the owner wants you to do as a head coach, do you still take the job?
I mean, if it was me, I mean, obviously, the guy can pay whoever, whatever. I mean, he's got the ability to do that. But if you're a coach and you actually want to win and you want to have a long-term, coaching career, whether it be in Sacramento or anywhere else, you got to sit down with him and say, listen, I see the concept and I see the places that it's worked and this is why you're bringing it to me. But in the NBA, this is what coaches would do to me if I did that as a head coach. And I would basically, put in your pros and your cons, which there's not a lot of pros, again, in the NBA. But, you look at all the cons, I mean, there's just too many. I mean, teams and guys are individually too good. And they break you down, and it'll be a layup fest. So, you got to put that on the table in the hopes that he would change his mind because there's no way that's working.
What if the 4 guys were 4 Mike Ditkas? Could they go 4 on 5?
You better have like another 4 on the bench when they foul out.
Oh, by the way, I want to show you. I've got more beanie talk for the second week in a row between Desmond Mason and I. Look at this.
Last week, Desmond Mason had the one with Kim Kardashian.
Now, I mean,
from the paper magazine.
If you're going to be Mike Ditka, you have to wear a Mike Ditka beanie. Is that not beautiful right there?
That's so good.
That is so fantastic.
Good. Oh, man, that's
it's
so
on
good.
my Twitter account if you want to take a look at it, at Big Easy, BIGEZ. But Ditka wore his own Ditka beanie during the Monday Night Football broadcast.
That's like Kobe wearing his KB full-body sweatsuits, shoes, and a T-shirt up under. All right, it's the same concept.
You know what?
Is that arrogant or is it not?
Right. See, that's it. It all depends on the person wearing it.
Does it cross the line?
Yeah, when you've heard a story about someone's handlers stepping in front of other NBA players to get on the elevator, it comes off as arrogant.
Yeah, it's just a little bit.
Yes. That's a good point, though. Where is the line? Give me the guy that teeters the line the most between that's totally arrogant and no, I can see him doing that. Like, give me, like, if the top of arrogance, I'm talking about wearing your own stuff.
Yeah.
Okay? Wearing your own brand. All right? If the top of that arrogance is Kobe Bryant, and I think we're all on the assumption the bottom of that arrogance is Mike Ditka, right? Because that we don't look at that as too arrogant out of him, right?
Yeah.
It's all based on image.
Yeah.
Well, who are we drawing? Like, where's the tipping point between? Okay, he's arrogant, but this guy's not. Like, where is that tipping point there?
I think it's their personality. I mean, Kobe's up there; he's at the top of that list. I think it's their personality and how they carry themselves.
It is because if Desmond Mason wore his own stuff,
I think Dick is a little arrogant, personally.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't see. Well, I mean, I do see self-confidence, but that doesn't strike me as
arrogance isn't a bad thing, really.
I think in his older, in his older age, it doesn't feel arrogant.
Maybe age has got something to do with it.
You're probably right.
Maybe that's probably right.
All right, I want to ask you this, Desmond. You see how Russell Westbrook dresses, and I'm sure you played with some guys that were some strange dressers.
Yeah.
Played with guys that were good dressers too. You played with Ray Allen, who is always well dressed.
Yeah, absolutely.
But okay, so when you see Russell Westbrook and how he dresses sometimes, as a guy that's an artist, and you see some pretty crazy stuff, do you think that's his style, or do you think, all right, that's a little too far?
I think it's his style. I mean, I normally dress. I always wore suits to the games, but when I'm around town, especially when I'm out and about, I go to events, and I like to dress a little funky. I don't get way out there like Russell, but I mean, I'm creatively, that's just the way I think. So I think some of the stuff that he wears is pretty cool. Some of it is over the top, but it's his style. He's into fashion. Can't really say too much about it. It was no different than AI coming to the games with 3 chains on, a beanie, a stocking hat on top of the beanie, his own shoes, his own sweat. It wasn't, it was just a different style of dress. But, Russell, he can get way out there, but, that's the world of fashion. They're liking that right now. It's trendy and hip. And
they try to set the trend.
They do.
It's their attempt, is it not?
They absolutely. And, eventually some of the stuff will be gone. You'll look at it and you'll be like, he'll look at it when he's, 40 and go, damn, I wore that. He's going to. So, at the end of the day, it's, it's to each his own, but I'm okay with it.
Best dresser you played with or against?
Good question.
I would probably say one of the guys that really always, dressed well was Michael Redd, and I played with him in Milwaukee. And it wasn't just it suits because, we, again, on the same team, we both were suit guys. And I was, I wanted to look professional when I went to the games. Even outside of that, just like a cool style and fashion. It wasn't crazy, but Michael was in, he was in the scarves and sweaters and, really cool shoes. And before guys were really into cool shoes. So he was one of the better dressers.
Worst dresser.
Man, Jackson Roman. When I was
I remember him, yeah.
I mean, Jackson wore a crop T-shirt and then a tie.
Let's do a little Google here.
I mean, it would be like a tie
Iowa
over
State, wasn't he, Jackson Roman?
Yeah. So he was, and he was tatted and, just kind of really, but he was a cool guy, but to wear a tie with a T-shirt was a little different.
What I do remember about covering Desmond is not only was Desmond well dressed, but he had the Louis Vuitton bags too. I remember seeing those and thinking,
I had two. They were gifts though. They weren't.
I remember seeing those and thinking,
that's what they all say. They were gifts.
A couple times I thought, how can I make it out of here with those Louis Vuitton bags? I wonder if I can sneak in and get those.
Well, give us a style tip. Give us the Desmond Mason style tip of the day.
Don't take it too seriously. Have some fun with it. I go to events in a tux and I wear black Chucks. Have a little bit of fun with it. Don't take it too seriously.
What's the fun? What's the one line that you were like the one time you're like, well, I may even be getting out of my comfort zone more than I want to. Give me the example.
I like scarves, but I'm not like a really huge scarf because I'm a big guy, so they have to be long enough so I can actually tie them. And I can remember wearing a scarf without a coat. And it wasn't a big scarf. Again, it was a gift. It was a normal size scarf. And when I tied it up, I just kind of went out and I looked in the mirror when I got in the bathroom. I was at Starbucks and I was like, yeah, I'm not in France. I didn't take this off.
You just took it off.
Yeah, I was like, yeah. I just draped it over. I mean, I could have put it in my back pocket like a handkerchief. It was like that small. I'm like, you know what? This is real French right now.
That is fantastic.
My boys would kill me back at home.
Desmond Mason with us here on 107.7 The Franchise. He's here all hour with us. By the way, speaking of Kobe, I just saw the smirk on Desmond's face when I brought up Kobe.
My blood boils.
But I couldn't help but to think of you when all weekend all I saw were highlights of. First off, I watched the Spurs game Friday night after we had talked. On Friday night, he's playing the Spurs, and it was the game after he all of that leaked out that he'd yelled at all of his teammates and yelled at Kupchak and yelling at everybody. And it just seemed as though maybe it was just me paying attention a little bit more. I don't think that's what it was, but he's hugging everybody and high-fiving and smiling, and they ended up, they ended up beating the Spurs.
Yeah.
And then Sunday,
Swaggy P had that three at the end.
Swaggy P.
What's his new name? Was a
impossible three. I don't know.
He got a new name now.
But then on Sunday he breaks the record, or I didn't break the record. Which that's the other thing. He does not breaking a record. No. He just becomes third on a list. But hugs and hand pounds for everybody, baby. I mean, I'm thinking. Yeah, look at Desmond shaking his head like that's not him, right? Yeah. He's not a hug and hand pound guy, huh?
Man, I'm telling you, man. Listen, I respect this dude's game. He is one of the most unbelievable players to ever step on the basketball court, hands down. And as I said before, since day one, my rookie year, Kobe and I, every time we played each other, we got tangled up. Every single time they were breaking something up between him and me, but it was just competitive spirit. And I remember him getting into his issues in Colorado Springs. He came back and, he played that first game, and I think he went out and had like 40-something. And then he came back and they played us in Milwaukee the next night, and it was the same way. It was hugging everybody and, like, coming up and talking to me and my wife and, like, having, like, a conversation. And I'm thinking to myself, dude, we never talk. I mean, I know you in your situation, what's going on with Colorado, but, like, making friends, I'm not that guy. I'm not going to go sit on the stand for you. I promise, I'm not that dude.
And he's probably stepping way out of his comfort zone, too.
To do that. And he's doing it again now. But, that's, he's kind of hit or miss like that, too. I don't want to just make him be a demon, but, he's a little hit or miss. Before games, sometimes he'll walk up and hand pound and say something, and sometimes he won't say anything to anybody. He's just kind of a different cat. But him passing Michael Jordan, man, that's just bad news. 19 years though, right? Michael Jordan did it in 14.
That's right. Yeah, 14 or 15. Yeah.
Okay.
It was less.
Yeah.
It was less.
Okay.
Yeah. You just
let's make sure we get that.
Joe Atkins said yesterday. He said that Kobe is the closest thing that we will ever see to Michael Jordan.
I believe that.
Do you?
Yeah. I'm in
So then you've
that.
got him number 2 all time then?
No, I said the closest thing to Michael Jordan.
Okay.
That doesn't make him number 2. It just makes him close to Michael Jordan.
You don't compare LeBron to Michael Jordan because they're different types of players?
Just different types of players. There's nobody, I don't think there's any player that's ever come to the NBA that's like LeBron. I mean, with his strength and athleticism, his court knowledge. I mean, he's bits and pieces of a lot of guys. You know, he's got his size and his, court awareness like Magic. You know, he's a decent shooter. He's gotten better in his shot. So in his shot comparison, I can compare, him and attacking the basket and shooting a jumper, much like Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan was a good shooter, but he wasn't Larry Bird by any means. His athleticism, I mean, he's in the top tier athletically. And then just his overall size at his position, just nobody that's been that way, that's strong and moved that well.
It always shocks me that he's never been injured. I always feel like a guy like that.
He works, man. He works hard. I was having a conversation the other day at coffee shop, and we were talking about LeBron. And I said, the one thing about LeBron is I remember watching some video on him about 5 years ago in the summer, and his full summer workout was in the pool. That's just a low impact everything. You strain your body enough during the season and then do it again in the off season. But he was doing his off season workouts in the pool. So, he's looking ahead to, he wants to be at least somewhat as athletic as he is now, year 15. And I think that's a good way to approach it.
That's interesting. Desmond Mason with us in studio. He will be here today, and he's back in here on Friday. He's also on Thursday going to do Locker Room Unfiltered with the boys in the afternoon. He joins us here on 107.7 The Franchise. All right, I feel like I'm going to have to ask you this. Gosh, it's such a stupid question. I should be more creative with my questioning. It's not a stupid question. I should be more creative is the thing. But I'm going to ask this every week. The offensive flow for the Thunder now. Are we feeling it yet?
It's just every game is getting better. All honesty.
Can you give me an example? Can you give the listeners an example?
When you watch the guys that don't have the ball, for instance, the Jeremy Lambs and Reggies and these guys that, Nick, Serge, all these guys that don't have the ball. When Kevin and Russell first got back on the floor, there was a lot of standing. They were just watching. As opposed to moving like they were when those guys weren't on the floor. So it's kind of like, hey, our guys are back here. Take the ball and go score for us. Standing around. Now you're starting to see guys slide into locations, shooters slide into pockets, big man cut. Serge, he's picking and he's getting a little bit closer to the basket now. So you're starting to see a flow in offense, and I think that's just now everyone's starting to get comfortable with them being back on the floor again, and that's a positive.
Does Russell's at all? I mean, we're starting to get, and Todd and I have talked about this again ever since you came in here last Friday and we got to talking about best point guards in the league. Well, now the conversation, especially after this weekend, and how well Russell continues to play, we're already getting. I know Darnell Mayberry wrote about it, and it's starting to hit the First Take. Stephen A. Smith and Skip Bayless talking about it, about Russell as MVP.
Yeah.
Too early, not too early. Does this look like an MVP guy to you? If so, what has changed? What's the difference this year?
He's playing at MVP level right now. The thing about MVPs is a couple things. One, your team has to win. You have to win. And two, you have to maintain that. They got to look at you and say you were the biggest impact to your team, not just winning games as the league goes. You were the biggest impact to your team. Like, you really made your team go, for the most part. And so, he's playing that way right now. He's got to maintain that, and he doesn't have to maintain just for MVP. He has to maintain it for Oklahoma City to be successful. But that's hard to do. But Russell's capable of doing it. And I think right now he's just being extremely aggressive on offense. Now, there's a lot of other things he has to do. He has to make, as we talked about before, he has to make players around him better. Because if not, then he'll score a lot of points and it'll look good for him, but the team won't do very well. So, but he's just being really aggressive right now, and he's getting older and he's getting smarter.
Is there any validity to my theory that I brought this out yesterday, that maybe we're just seeing an even bigger aggressiveness out of Russell Westbrook just because he was out, and that everyone else around him that he's playing against has already been through 20, 25 games and he hasn't, and maybe that's just maybe that's the only difference we're seeing, or is it more than that?
I think sometimes you can be, you can sit out. Now, again, I've been injured and just get so antsy to get back on the floor. And when you do get back on the floor, I mean, you get it going. I can tell you this, and it was weird when I tore a ligament in my thumb, and when I played Milwaukee, I had surgery on it. I had to come back and play with a cast on like a soft cast on my hand, a brace on my hand. And I can remember I had a 20-game stretch where I was averaging like 25. I was shooting the ball unbelievably with this thing on my hand, and I thought it would hamper me. And then I got used to it, and I remember taking it off, and I had like 3 bad games. So I put it back on.
Really?
Yeah, I put it back on. And that's Rip Hamilton did it with his mask.
The mask, yeah.
He's got his hand splint on right now. So, and it's people may not see that as a big deal.
It's just a mind game?
It's that, and then you get comfortable with having it on. And sometimes, it gets your hands away from your shot, and so, there's a lot of different things that can go. But, I'll be interested to see what happens when he takes it off. Because right now he's shooting the ball really well. And I've been there and done it. And I remember as soon as I took it off, I had 3 bad games. I talked to the trainer. I'm like, dude, where's that brace at? I need that brace
right?
back. I'm
that
dead
will
serious.
be interesting.
It'll be interesting to see.
That'll be very interesting. All right, Todd, next segment. Here's what we got. We got a lot. First off, I have let Desmond know we are going to be doing the top 4 again, top 4s this week. Desmond's going to play with us in honor of the Thunder playing Sacramento tonight. We're looking for top 4 Kings. It does not matter that their last name, if their last name is King or first name is King or their nickname is King or if they played for the Kings or whatever. Just Kings. That's it. You can be as subjective as you want with the definition of King. So we're going to do that at 10:40. Get those in now, 88474. Type in the word text in a space, then you're King. Then the next segment time, a couple things. Number one, he brought in art today.
I did.
He brought in art today. He will explain this art. And it's amazing, by the way. You got to come in here and look at it, Todd. And two, Todd informed me of a story about you.
Oh, man. It's not an onion story, is it?
Well, it might be. But I don't think it's. No, I don't know. It might be. I don't know. But it has to do with your childhood. All right. So we got that. And I'm going to have to pull back into the Desmond Mason, peel back the onion archives for a little bit more as well. It's all coming up on the franchise.
Now back to Zach McCrite and Todd Lisenbee on Oklahoma's new sound for sports, 107.7 The Franchise.
Desmond Mason in studio for the 10 o'clock hour. Todd Lisenbee on the other side of the glass. We have... In the last 2 days, we have seen the NFL, Desmond, tweet out tweets that are humorous that are basically trolling 2 of the NFL's quarterbacks. They trolled Johnny Manziel with one. They said, Johnny Manziel sacked again. Money signs by the Bengals. Rinse, repeat. So that was kind of that was one from the NFL. And then another one, they retweeted one of their sister sites, NFL Now, at NFL Now, their Twitter account, of Jay Cutler, video, Jay Cutler completing a pass to the Saints. And that was what they said. Who was the guy that was the easiest to troll upon for Desmond Mason? The easiest NBA player to troll upon, or coach, I guess.
That's a tough one.
I think what he's doing right now, Todd, is I think he's got a couple names and he's running them back to the filter and going, maybe I shouldn't say anything.
No, I don't have to tell the story, and I probably shouldn't tell the story.
Gary Payton was one, and I use him all the time because I played with him and I was around him a lot. He was one of my favorite players growing up.
So you would troll him?
Why not?
Well, I mean, all I've heard is you guys going at it, but I didn't know you would actually tease him. How about if we ask it? Tease.
How about if we ask it this way?
Go ahead.
Like Kelly Gregg, he's always trying. He'll come up to me and go, "Hey, did you hear about Jordy Nelson? He hunting knife accident. He cut his leg open. He's not playing this week." Just little stuff like that to try to get me to believe it.
Yeah.
Who was the guy that you played with that you could get to believe that type of stuff?
Yeah, you could kind of prank him a little bit.
The gullible guy.
Yeah, it was Michael Redd. For sure.
Give an example.
I mean, I can. No, he was. I can walk up and just tell Michael, be like, "Hey, Mike, man, I'm not gonna play tonight. I got a stomach virus. I threw up all night. I mean, he'd be like, oh, he put his hand on my back. Oh, Mace, you okay? I mean, is there anything I can do to help you out? I'm like, dude, I'm playing. I'm dressed right now. What are you talking about? It's like,
that is gullible.
He was, but he was, which made him a good teammate. I took up for Mike in the playoffs and got tossed because Mike, he's just not that type of guy.
He won't do it.
Rip Hamilton elbowed him in the throat. I saw it, so I dealt with it. And then we both got tossed.
What, did he say anything to you afterward, Michael?
Michael, no.
He didn't say anything to you afterward?
No, he just kind of went out and still had his 27 and
Lon Kruger, we got Lon Kruger to open up one day, and he he's about, because Lon is he's very mild mannered, he's very soft spoken, and I was like, give me a time when you weren't, like, he's like, well, I had to ask for a technical once. For one of my teammates or for one of my players in the NBA. He's like, but I wasn't going to complain. I wasn't going to scream and yell. So I just asked the ref. I was like, you have to tee me up because you screwed one of my players. And it was Dikembe Mutombo when he was coaching the Hawks.
Which I've also heard that Mutombo never thought he fouled ever.
He doesn't ever foul.
And so
you can't understand when he talks.
So Mutombo was mad that he got a foul called on him because he didn't foul. And
Coach, you have to complain, Coach.
And Lon Kruger's like, I got to take up for this guy. So he just went up to the referee and went, you have to give me a technical. And he's like, what? He goes, you have to give me a technical, throw me out of the game or whatever. You got to. And so he's like, all right. So the ref just teed him up. And Dikembe comes over, everyone goes, thanks, Coach. And I figured maybe Mike Red would do that for you.
No,
that's not very nice.
No, Mike did his interviews after. He didn't say anything to me as I was soaked in the corner thinking about how much money I was finna to get the league.
Do you remember how much it was?
I think it was $1,500 per tech, and I don't know, it was like $2,500 if you get tossed or something.
Remember last year when Matt Barnes got tossed after the Serge Ibaka Blake Griffin deal?
Yeah.
And Matt Barnes tweeted out, I'm tired of all you blank making me have to pay the fines.
The fines, they stink, man.
Yeah, his teammates.
I'm tired of taking fines for all you guys. Yeah.
Did y'all ever do like funds or anything? Like, all right, man, I'll take up. Like, I got this one.
Really? You mean like so? You start looking at contracts. You like, listen, everybody can pay $1,500.
Oh yeah, that's true. But I'm talking about as a token. As a token gift.
Yeah, there's no token gifts.
No token gifts. No token gifts in the NBA.
There's not even Christmas gifts. So what makes you think they're gonna gift you?
That's true. That's true. And no token gifts in the NBA. We've learned that today. All right, so tell us about what you got back here, man.
Oh man, I brought
Here, you want to grab it? You can take your headphones off real quick if you want to grab it, or you can just.
I can tell. I know. I painted them. So
yeah, I mean, explain to the listeners.
Oh, okay, yeah. So it's I just sent these two art pieces out to New York City with my PR company. I grew up skateboarding, so I started designing longboards and skateboards here recently, and so I designed this longboard that we sent out, and I got a stencil of this alien. I call him Tosh. I spray painted him across the bottom. He's kind of like my little symbol that I spray paint everywhere, and then took some oil sticks and just drew, wrote the word art across the whole entire longboard. We just made it kind of really simple, matte black, really cool. And then I got these old Jordans. I bought them all white, and then I painted them all and painted the box as kind of like one-offs. Yeah, some one-off drip Jordans. Yeah, so I sent them out, man, just as part of this PR push as the company went out east and got feedback. I'm doing an article with the New York Post about it, our article on Bloomberg TV about it, and then we're finishing up the contract. Hopefully, with Oprah's magazine O to have them featured in O. So
nice,
yeah, man.
Look at you.
It's fun, man. It's art though. It's just like a different medium and a different subject matter for me. But yeah, these shoes. I've sold like 9 pair of those shoes, and
have you really? What year Jordans though?
Man, I don't even know. I grabbed a bunch of them. I got a whole studio full of them. And I just kind of go and paint them whenever I feel like it.
See, Zach, if you were a real connoisseur, you wouldn't ask what year, you'd ask what number.
I know what number.
The 14s or the 16s.
But that's how you ask what year and they give you the number. That's how that works.
Yeah, they're early. So yeah, we're doing this. I'm working on some Louis Vuitton bags for some people that wanted some commission, one-off Louis Vuitton bags and luggage stuff. So
it's probably a faux pas to ask how much you got for those, isn't it?
No, I mean it's art. So, I mean the board I didn't sell. Those shoes.
But you've done shoes this.
I've done those, like the boards, those long boards like that. I've sold between $500 and $800. And the shoes, I did a pair like that for $1,100 for a lady here recently. Like the purses are more expensive on their end than my end. I mean they'll buy like a $5,000 purse and then send it to me and I'll paint on it. You know what I'm saying? It's ridiculous. I'm like, I'm doing it. I'm going to do it.
$5,000
$5,000 Louis purse and then send it to me to paint on. I'm like, it's in my studio. I'm like, really? Okay, I'll paint on it. I'll throw some spray paint on it.
That is amazing.
crazy.
Desmond Mason in studio. We talk basketball and art and everything under the sun. Todd was telling me about a story today that I guess you did a story with Dime Magazine. How long ago was that?
It was in the summer, wasn't it?
Oh, was it this summer?
No, I did Dime. It wasn't Dime this summer. I've done Slam and Dime, but that was before, unless they just repeated the article.
It might have been a repeat article.
Yeah, it could have been a repeat article.
You looked, no offense, but you looked a little younger.
Yeah, I know. I'm 37, man. It shows.
And no offense taken, I'm sure by him. Yeah.
Well, I
Tell
thought
people what you saw.
Well, in this article, they showed you painting down at your studio, and you were talking about art and how you got into art. One of the things you said that was kind of, I thought, interesting was you said, here I am in the NBA getting a salary when you sold your first paintings.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like all excited because you sold a piece of art for $600.
Yeah.
Which I thought was kind of cool. That shows that you really do love art. But then you told the story about when you were younger and an injury that happened to your leg, and I didn't know this story. So I'll just let you tell the story because you'll obviously do it more justice than I will.
Yeah, when I was 3, I was with my dad, and my dad was just in the parking lot. He just got done cleaning his car in Texas, and the windows were down. And I was in the back seat, sleeping in the car seat. A friend of his drove up next to the car. And his car was overheating, so it was running hot. My dad was a mechanic and drag racer, so he's, when he popped the hood, he told the guy to let some pressure off the radiator before you just open up the cap. Well, he didn't do that. He just opened it, and when he did, the pressure shot all the hot fluid out of the car over into the back seat, where I was in the back seat sleeping in the car seat.
And you said the roof was open?
The windows were open, so it literally came into the window. Missed my face and, upper body. I got spotted with a couple of spots like on my chest. But it hit my legs and especially my left leg and burned. It's just, again, 3-year-old.
Real quick, back up. Can you explain to me, you're in the car.
I'm in the car sleeping.
How did the fluid get around the windows?
No, so the window's down in the car.
He pulled up on the side of the car.
He pulled up right next to the car. Old radiators had the.
It's not your car's not the car you're in is not the one broken down.
Yeah, the car that pulls up next to us. Yeah, sorry.
So the car kind of perperpendicular to you.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah, and so it shot over into the back seat. Immediately go to the hospital, and not too long after that, go into surgery. Ended up having 4 or 5 plastic surgeries and a couple of skin grafts. I was in there for about 6 months total time. But they told my parents,
6 months in the hospital.
6 months as a 3-year-old.
I turned 5 in the hospital, 'cause being in and out, and then I finally went back in for my last skin grafts. But yeah, man, they told my parents that I would never run, and I would always kind of walk with a limp because my left leg was much better than, was worse than my right leg. And so yeah, when your parents, my mom was 16, my dad was 17 when I was born, so that puts him at 19 and 20.
Oh my gosh!
And your kid had never run. So obviously they were wrong. The doctors were wrong, which I think everybody. I'm glad they were wrong.
Oh, well, I imagine.
But by 5, I was playing football, and I grew out of it. My scars aren't so visible, especially on my lower leg, and But it's hard to go through it as a kid. When
do you have a memory of it?
I feel like I do because I told the story so many times. But in all honesty, I don't even know if I ever woke up. I don't really know what happened. What happened at the moment. I just heard from my dad.
Crazy shock, too.
You probably remember being in surgery at 4 or 5, though.
I remember my grandmother, me yelling and screaming and putting me in the therapy dips. That's what I remember the most, being them having to take off my clothes and then put me in these therapy whirlpools, to help the burns heal. And so I remember that a lot. And I remember my grandmother always leaving, just watching her walk down the hall. That was always my cry time when I was little like that. But yeah, it was harsh.
Do you remember being like I'm over it? Like, you remember, I am going to be okay. Do you remember a moment like that?
You know what? All through, really, almost all the way through high school, I always wore, I ran track. So I always wore long tights under my shorts. Track shorts are really short. So I always wore long tights under my shorts. And then I also, when I was in high school, most of high school, I always wore tights under my basketball shorts as well. I was a little bit better by then. I was still a little self-conscious, but by the time I was a senior in high school, I still wore tights under my track, shorts, but not really under basketball anymore. And then college, it was, I was just kind of mentally gone out. And I had grown out of a lot of it anyway. But, I was just like, this is who I am. I've told the story over and over again. People know it. It's just what it is. You can't really even see it on my calf. But, it's part of me. It made me stronger. Gave me thick skin because kids can be cruel when they're young.
I know all about that. So does Todd. We know all about
we're
that.
Young fat kids.
That's right. We were young and fat. And now we're old and fat.
And then fat. I always got called fat, and then football became the great equalizer.
There you go.
When I got older.
For a while.
Yeah, for a while.
And then you stopped playing football.
Yeah, now I get called fat again. Which
See, I never had football like that.
But I'm conditioned now. It doesn't bother me.
That's right.
I'm acclimatized, I guess.
That's right. We're all
acclimated.
Good. We're all good now. All right, here we go.
Are you going to paint the canvas Zach bought you during the break here?
Oh, yeah.
It will be here on Friday.
Oh,
so
my
invisible.
God.
It will be here on Friday. It's here. I'm telling
if it's
you,
not here Friday, I'm just going to paint your head.
I'm just going to start painting whatever I see. Whatever's within the arm.
Actually, I tell you what. We can do my head on Friday. I'll just shave this off. We'll get a Bic razor out. And
wow. That's big time.
you want to do it? I don't care. I'll do a radio show. You can have we'll bring the mic up above my head for you, and me and you will talk while you do your thing.
That'll be awkward.
That would be so awkward. That just feels weird thinking about it.
But theater of the mind would be great. People are like, they're really talking while he's painting his head right now.
It would be like, I wonder what they're doing.
Yeah, I want to see that. That's how I do my art. My art to the people is making them think of really crazy stuff.
I would paint a blonde mohawk.
Ooh.
Yeah, a little like Mr. Tito with the side strap around. Like, that would be so
I pity the fool.
I pity the fool.
That's right. Hey, look, I'm in. All right. We're going to do the top fours. Here we go. Top four in the next segment. Top four kings of all time. Subjective definition of the word king. Tweet him at Big Easy, BIGEZ, at Todd on Franchise. Text him to 88474.
And by the way, we're going to have a prize for whoever tweets out the best honorable mention.
Yeah, the
best one that we don't get to.
The best that we don't get to. Yeah, the best that aren't in our top four. So that we will have 12 between the three of us, or less if we overlap at all. And whichever one is the best from the remainings that we don't mention in our top four, we'll give a prize to. We'll tell you about the prize next as well. All coming up on the franchise.
Now back to Zach McCrite and Todd Lisenbee on Oklahoma's new sound for sports, 107.7 The Franchise.
Desmond's got a sponsor. I didn't even know it. Urban Johnny's.
Urban
Johnny.
My dad's named Johnny.
That's right. Urban Johnny's is the sponsor of the Desmond Mason Show. Twice a week here on 107.7 The Franchise. And he's going to come on and do a Locker Room Unfiltered this week as well. So thank you to Urban Johnny's for doing all that. I just found out, I always see right next to my house, Todd, there is a building that Des has been given the authorization. He doesn't own the building, but he's been given the authorization to paint the entire building. It is a huge building. Yeah. And he's just been messing around just a little bit so far. But I always see, more than once, I have seen this word. How would you pronounce that word?
Nasaramistra.
Nasaramistra. Yeah. And I'm like, what the hell is that word? What does it mean? And he told me it's just American artist spelled backwards. American spelled backwards and artist spelled backwards. And now, so finally, if you ever see that word around, how would you pronounce it again?
Nasaramistra. Nasaramistra.
Nasaramistra.
Yeah.
If you ever see that out there, a good chance that Des probably did something
did.
Like that.
Yeah.
That's right. All right, let's fire it up here, Todd. Let's do it.
Hey, what's poppin', motherfuckers?
Between the college football playoff,
This your boy Antoine D9 coming back to y'all.
bracketology,
So I'm gonna tell y'all what's the top four.
or just those silly power rankings,
Well, how about this? Let's see.
we're always ranking something.
I'm gonna do the top 25.
But we haven't ranked this.
All right. If it'll tell me here. All right, here we go. Well, anyway, forget doing that. I'm gonna give you the top four.
It's time for a brand new and likely terrible top four list on 107.7 The Franchise.
I feel like we got to explain Antoine D9 every time.
Just look him up on YouTube today, Antoine D9.
Antoine D9. He wanted to do top 4 on his new laptop computer, and so that was him doing his top 4.
I just love the beginning.
Hey, what's poppin', motherfuckers?
Between
It is fantastic.
Oh, you got
so
it.
anyway, it's time for our top 4 in honor of the Thunder playing the Sacramento Kings tonight. Top 4 Kings of all time. Now, you are more than welcome to send in your own. If it is, we're going to go through on the text line, 88474, type in the word text, then a space, then your top king or top 4 Kings. You can also tweet them at Big Easy, at Todd on Franchise, at D Mason Art. We're going to come up with whichever ones we don't get on here, whichever ones we don't name on our personal top 4s. The next best one that we all vote on will get what, Todd?
$25 to the Renaissance Salon and Spa. Perfect place to treat your lady friend.
All right.
Over Christmas time. 758-8888. 10440 Broadway Extension, North Broadway Extension. Go check out the Renaissance Salon and Spa.
All right. Who wants to go first? Todd?
I think we should let the guests go
All right.
first.
Desmond, do you have a top 4? Do
I do the whole 4? I just do
you
one.
go from 4 to 1. Go from 4
Okay,
to
so
1.
from 4 to 1,
All right.
I was a huge fan of this. So my first one was Lion King.
Oh, Lion King.
Yeah, that's
well
my first
done.
one.
Lion King, all right.
And then I got to do this one. My daughter would love it. Is King Charles Cavalier. We have a new puppy. His name's Oliver. So King Charles Cavalier.
All right.
Then obviously Martin Luther King.
MLK, number 2, and your
then,
number 1.
And then the King of Kings, Jesus Christ.
Look at you. Des with a strong top 4. Todd?
Can I just say, I was going to include the King of Kings. but because of comedic value, I left him out. But I'm glad Desmond did because someone needed to.
Let's just we should just act that for comedic value he left it out. All right, so let's just assume that even if Todd and I don't have JC at the top,
Yeah, I mean he's really
at the top.
goes without saying.
That's right. That's exactly right.
I'm gonna go with number 4, King Kong.
Yes,
Number
King
4.
Kong. Well done. Well played.
Number 3, Nat King Cole.
Nice.
Number
Really?
3.
Number 3?
Yeah, he sings. It's Christmas time. He sings my favorite Christmas song,
Which is?
the Christmas song.
Okay.
Chestnuts roasting on an open fire. Number 2,
He does sing it better than you.
also a good song by Steve Martin. King Tut is number 2.
King Tut.
Thank you.
Your number 2?
Yes. I'll tell you why. As a kid, I was fascinated with Egypt and ancient Egypt and all the
Really?
tombs and the pyramids. Yes.
You were a
So
mummy
King
fan.
Tut is number 2 for me. Number 1, though, is Martin Luther King Jr.
Yeah, MLK is my number 1 as well.
And we're coming up on Martin Luther King Day
That's
in
right.
January.
Yes.
It's cool. The NBA always plays the afternoon games on MLK Day.
Yep.
I always tell people, in my opinion, the greatest speech ever made was Martin Luther King in front of the Lincoln Memorial.
Absolutely.
Yeah, of course. All right, here's mine.
Well, it's not, of course. Some people say Gettysburg Address. I mean, there's other ones. It's not like it's not a clear number 1 like Jesus is. But it's up there for sure.
Really, what we're doing is we probably should have 5 to 2 is what our top 4
That's
is.
what it should be.
5 to 2. My number 5. No. All right, number 4. First off, I don't know how you guys don't have a king size candy bar in your list. King size Almond Joy is obviously number 4.
Almond Joys are.
You don't like Almond Joys?
I don't like coconut.
Reese's Pieces, man.
Well, yeah.
If I'm going king size, I'm going
Peanut butter M&Ms.
either Butterfinger or Snickers for me on king size.
Peanut butter M&Ms.
Peanut butter M&Ms are ridiculous.
Man,
Yeah.
that's
I love those for
Those
gifts.
are so good.
Bit-O Honey's very underrated too.
Number 3. Michael Jackson, King of Pop.
Nice.
Not a fan.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I'm not. I never
What?
could get into Michael Jackson's music. I'm sorry. Just never did it for me.
I quit.
Don't worry about it, Desmond. This is the same guy who has King Tut, number 2. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. It's all right. Number 2. My number 1, by the way, is MLK. So my number 2, Vladi Dottie. We likes to potty. That guy was a Sacramento King. And
Vlade Divac?
That's when the
man.
Kings were good,
They
man.
were good.
2002, they got hosed against the Lakers.
Yes, they did.
They poisoned Kobe that year.
That's right.
They should have won.
That's right. They got hosed by the Lakers.
Was that the year that Doug Christie's wife was going crazy?
Yes, man. That was one of the years.
Yeah.
She was nuts.
That's right. That's right.
Snakes in her head.
So Dez has got number 4, Lion King. That's right. Number 4, Lion King. Number 3, King Charles Cavalier. Number 2, MLK. Number 1, JC.
Now, I got to tell you, there have been people tweeting and texting, and we will go through and find the winner. But so far of the honorable mentions, the one that we didn't mention that I like the best is BB King.
Yeah, man.
BB King's
That
a good
we did
one.
not
So
mention.
that's our line right now?
Yes.
All right, that's our leader in the clubhouse. We'll always pick a new leader in the clubhouse.
King Joffrey Joffer was good. It's not quite as good as BB King, though.
Are you familiar with King Joffrey Joffer?
Come on, man. You kidding me?
Did you see what David Garrett tweeted us? He just tweeted us, what is this, velvet?
What is this?
Rocky Marciano. So, Rocky Marciano. So let's, okay, so here's what it is. 2 out of 3. If you say new leader, that means you have it ahead of BB King, all right? But anyway, Todd's top 4, number 4, King Kong. Number 3, Nat King Cole. Number 2, King Tut. Number 1, MLK. Mine, number 4, King Size Almond Joys. Number 3, Michael Jackson. Number 2, Vlade Divac. Number 1, MLK. All right.
I'm King Joffrey Joffer, ruler of Zamunda.
Yeah, we'll have a seat.
Have a seat.
We'll have a seat.
This is beautiful. What is that, velvet?
All right. Here we go. Burger King. I'm just going to fly through them. Burger King.
Not as good as BB King.
Bernard King. Stacy King. Barry Switzer. I'm going Barry Switzer.
Over BB King?
That's right.
Yeah, I'm going BB King still.
Yeah.
Jerry the King Lawler. I'm going Jerry the King Lawler.
That's a good one.
Yeah, we'll go Jerry the King
All
Lawler.
right, all right. Now we got to beat Jerry the King Lawler. King Solomon, King David, Elvis, Larry King. Man, I really want to put Larry King up there.
Oklahoma City, hello.
Let's see. Richard Petty, Arnold Palmer,
Nobody said Don King yet, which surprises me.
That's another good one.
Kings of Leon.
Kings of Leon's good, but
I don't think it's going to make the list. The original Kings of Comedy. Stephen King.
That was one.
Wayne Gretzky.
Could you go Stephen Hawking?
Ooh, Hawking. Probably could, but nobody mentioned it. Are we going to be giving this to Lawler? Hold on, I got more. DeMarcus Cousins, someone says. Randy Watson and Sexual Chocolate.
Randy Watson.
That's not. We're branching too far away from King Jaffe Joffer there. Let's see. Hold on, I got a couple more here. The King of Kings, Triple H. There's only one King of Kings. Let's see. Christopher Walken and Suicide Kings. I don't think we're getting any other good ones
I
here.
think Jerry Lawler is going to have
Jerry
to.
Lawler.
Yeah, man, that's good stuff.
Somebody
right there.
says Chris Webber.
That hits us right in the sweet spot, too, because we're all about the same age.
That's
Jerry
exactly
King
right.
Lawler.
All right, then we're giving it to the guy on the text line. Hold on. Where did it go
The
here?
first one that texted it in, right? Because I know there were a couple, right?
Yeah, we'll give it to the first one. Can you go back and get it?
Yep.
All right, very good. So
I'll be getting in touch.
You win. Whoever did it first, Jerry the King Lawler, you win. People are going to be so mad.
Oh.
Like, you didn't. I can't believe it. Burger King. That was it.
Was that the American Wrestling Association? What was that?
Oh, yeah,
Jerry
yeah.
the King.
Oh,
Who was he with?
He was with Ohio Valley, Eric. I can remember Ohio. I mean, look, I'm going way back, baby. Jason White Chocolate Williams. No?
It's another good one.
Go. No.
Lawrence Funderburg.
Lawrence Funderburg's a good one. For him to be even mentioned in the top 4 kings of all time,
Lawrence Funderburg.
That's even to the top 4 Kings when he played.
that's how I know that this segment is a success.
Oh, my God.
It's a success.
Oh, that was the highlight of my day.
All right. Des, we'll leave you with that. Thanks for coming
man,
in, buddy.
Thank you guys so much.
Desmond Mason, everybody.